afternoon. I am headed to the park to go for a walk and maybe do a little journaling. I changed where I put my camera. I don't know if I'll like this one either. I'm having one of those days today where I just do not feel attractive no matter what I do. I just feel very blah. And as I have learned so far in my journey, I need to show myself kindness and grace. So that's what I am going to do. I've talked about it before, the whole getting older thing. Some days are better than others. Some days I feel very fine about my age and getting older. And other days, I look in the mirror and I'm like, good God, lady. And then I have to remind myself, T, you are fucking 2 years away from 50, girly. Get over it. You're supposed to age and be thankful and grateful that you are still alive and well to continue experiencing life and finding more ways to get enjoyment out of life. I have to just put myself in check and remind myself of gratitude, and there's more to life than superficial beauty. My issue has always been that it took me so long to get comfortable in my skin and feel confident about the way I looked and accept compliments and all that good stuff, only for it to start fading, and that's been my issue. But like I said, some days are better than others. Sometimes, depending on the makeup I wear or the clothes I wear, or a combination of, both things, I might have a really good day, or I might have a not so good day. That's okay, that's life. I did want to talk about, well, let me say this first. I have been getting really great about, my eating and what I eat. I have upped my protein amounts because I think that has been sabotaging my weight loss efforts. Now that everything, hormones in check, mental is fine, physical is fine. I'm still working on trying to get more sufficient rest because I average anywhere between 4 to 6 hours of sleep each night, usually about 5 hours. Today I got just an itty bit over 6 hours of sleep, and I'm supposed to be getting probably about 8, shoot for 8 or more. Once upon a time I could sleep, and if I allowed myself to sleep, I could sleep well into the afternoon, and that's just not a thing for me anymore. If I stay up late, no matter if I stay up late or go to bed early, my body seems like it just wants to give me about 5 hours of sleep, and I'm working on that. Anyway, I'm a work in progress. I'm working on many things in my life, all for the betterment of, myself and my quality of living. Where was I going with this? I was going somewhere with this. That's another thing. Forgetfulness. It's like, going in the room and forgetting why you even went in the room, or, you know, running the errand and I'm actually driving somewhere in mid-drive. I'm like, where the hell was I going again? It's funny, but it's a little scary, because I'm like, if I'm doing this now at 48, you know, what is it going to be like at 68? But I'm not going to claim anything that is not positive for my life, because I'm working on everything good, is all I can say. That's what I was getting at. I knew it was going to come to me eventually. Things have fallen in line. You know, I find myself putting off getting into the studio and actually working towards creating the life I want to live. What's that? Like crackling noise. I think I need to, I'm gonna turn the car off, but I think I need to check my fluids. I know I had put off my oil change, and they told me to get it done probably like this month, because I be on my oil changes, and I be on my oil changes so much that they be like, lady, your oil is still clean. And I'm like, I'm going by that damn sticker y'all put in the corner, because, you know, I only have this one vehicle and I need to make sure that it's running the way it's supposed to, because there is no other means of transportation for me. Anyway, my gut told me, stop what you're doing, get in the studio, work on your craft. So, you know, I was about to make up my bed, and I was like, no, no, no. And, you know, something told me, I'm going to say the God in me, because I had a whole nother thing about religion and all that. I do believe in a higher power. I just don't believe in the way that it was given to us. You know, I think God lives within us. God is greater than everything outside of us, but God lives in us, if that makes sense. So I got this feeling, no, stop everything and just get to it, because what you're doing is you keep putting it off, putting it off, putting it off, and days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and what have you gotten done? You know, my inner God was telling me, how are you going to have the life that you want to live and make money, you know, and sustain your life off this passion that you have, if you don't give it any time, if you don't make it a priority, if you don't find a way to factor it into your life, just like I have factored in eating better and walking, and now I'm back to weightlifting. I am carving out and creating the life I want to live. I have to pour into this new way of financially supporting myself. I have to give it time. I have to give it effort. I have to make it a priority, because time gets away from you. I remember, you know, when I was in my early 40s, now I'm in my late 40s, and it's like, what has changed? My age. My age has changed. Well, hormones and body and all, facial and all that good stuff too. But I'm saying, for the most part, what I'm saying is time has continued to progress. And if you don't make time for the things that are important to you, time will just pass you by. Time is going to keep on going. You're going to keep on aging. Life is going to keep on lifing. But you have to make the things that you love and are passionate about a priority. And I had to just yank myself back into reality and be like, okay, you know, you got to pivot. You got to find a way to encompass all these great things that I have planned for my life, and these things that I want to accomplish and want to do, and actually do them. So I stopped what I was doing. I got in there and I Was in there probably about an hour and a half that I had like full focus engaged in what I was doing. And I got it done and got it recorded. But I got that done. And, you know, my bed is still unmade. But that's the trade-off. It's like, I'm okay. If the trade-off is me not having my bed made up, but me making progress and getting my studio time in each day, or, you know, often enough throughout the week, that's a priority. I can concede not having a made bed each day, and getting sufficient studio time, because that's a priority. On another note, I wanted to talk about my kids. When I left, it was just a tiny bit before 4. My kids stay in their rooms for the most part all day, you know, and they come down to eat. Lily, depending on what's going on, she might converse with me for a couple minutes or ask me a question or something like that. Boopy, he pretty much avoids me. He comes out at night like possum or something like that. Whatever nocturnal animal is out there, he comes out at night. I've talked about doing a disservice to my kids as far as being a helicopter mom, not letting them bump their head in life, you know, and for the most part, enabling mediocrity, you know, laziness, selfishness in my kids, and little work ethic. And at both their ages, you know, at 19, I was at my mom's house. I was holding my own weight, either living with my sister, working a job, going to school, all the things, and helping her out to the best of my ability. But I do believe 19, I was on my own. Both my kids were born on Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance. I had insurance for both of them, from my job, from working. I just feel so disappointed. I feel like I gave my kids and the best I could. I did the best I could. But then I see the flaws in my parenting. Just being a little too lenient, being too complacent, being too accommodating. And that's the thorn in my my side regarding my life period, is doing the most when people have not proven that they're worthy of receiving the most. This is part 2 because my other phone, I didn't even realize I was recording with the wrong phone. Anyway, I was talking about the kids. I was talking about me doing the best I could raising them, and reflecting on the mistakes I made raising my kids, in a way that they are selfish, self-centered, lazy, and lack the ambition and independence that I had at their ages. It just dawned on me in the kitchen, you know, washing dishes and eating, then washing dishes, that I am done bending over backwards for my kids. You know, I love them. I wish them the best. I be having 2 things going on at once, and my mouth be like, what the hell you want me to say? You think about 2 different things, what you want to say. But I'm tired. Kissing 50, and for the past few years, my focus has been on myself, as it should be. I find myself sometimes, I go in the kitchen and be like, man, most of the stuff in here is stuff I eat. And you know, what is it in here for the kids to eat? Should I run to the store and get, and then I had to tell myself. And I told Rachel, she thought it was funny the first time I said it. I said it from a place of love, but then I said it from a place of, that's what the fuck I mean. And I had to start saying internally in my mind, fuck them kids. Now, hear me out. That sounds so harsh. People like, you birthed those kids. The kids didn't ask to come here. Why would you say that about your kid? Fuck them kids. And I had to say that to put everything in perspective and to bounce out of this, putting a cape on, saving my kids, helicoptering, doing the most. And then every decision I make in life, you know, I'm including, you know, my kids. I'm gonna go get this. What about Lily? What about Boopy? What about Boopy? What about Lily? You know, you always include your kids in everything, as you should, you know, if you're a good parent. But at what point in your life do you disconnect from your kids in a way that is enabling them? You know, at what point do you say, no, they are able bodies, able-minded individuals who can start learning how to navigate life on their own, bumping their head a little bit, getting some life experience under their belt, without their mother's assistance, you know? I'm over it. You know, Lily could be trying to find a job. She could be, my kids could be way more helpful. It's like they only come out to kind of eat, and that's it. You know, cooking, if I am in a good mood and I want to cook a dish or something like that, I'll cook it, and then, you know, I'll tell the kids, well, if y'all want something, it's in there. I'll just make it and put it in the fridge. But usually I tell them, you know, whether it's a pot of taco meat and I get all the fixings and cut up all the little stuff and put it in the compartment container I got with the lettuce, tomatoes, cheese, all that. Or if I make a baked casserole, or if I make lasagna or whatever, I'm never selfish. But I'm learning to be more selfish. I'm learning to think about me first and just be like, what do I want? And that's where the whole fuck them kids come in, because it's a given that I love my kids, but I have to do that because they're both adults now. And if I don't remind myself and jolt myself into realizing that my kids have hands that are fully functional and they can create food and try recipes and find something to eat without my assistance. It's cream of wheat in there, it's oatmeal, it's all things that can be cooked in them cupboards in that fridge and freezer. So when they go in there, they probably like, oh, mom got to go shopping, and that, no. Open up a can of tuna, boil some eggs, learn how to make a pot of beans and rice, unthaw some chicken thighs and bake them and make some rice with it, or some, it's a box of instant mashed potatoes, make some mashed potatoes, there's butter in there, you know, it's always flour in there, you know, it's like, find something creative to eat. I'm no longer buying any quick stuff, and when Boopy leaving in July, it's like, whatever the fuck you guys find to eat is, you know, my thing has always been, whatever I bring in the house, it's anybody can have it, just don't eat the last of it. I deserve the last of anything in the house because I am the one who provides everything in the house. I think that's more than fair, you know. If it's 4 chicken nuggets left, you don't get to eat them. Mom get to eat them. That's only fair. If it's a half a cup of whatever in the fridge, that's for mom. You know, it's called having a certain level of respect and thoughtfulness, you know, for the person who gave you life and pay all the damn bills in the house. But nobody's contributing to. Boopy gives me $100 each month, and that was our agreement until he moves the hell out the house. Lily's back home. Of course, she doesn't have a job, so there is no contribution. I still pay Lily's cell phone bill and her Spotify, her music bill. And, you don't think about stuff until you think about it. But if I had, a significant other, somebody who had my best interests at heart and loved me, they could be on the outside looking in and see things a little bit more clearly than I did or I have concerning my kids, and offer me assistance or insight that's like, T, you doing too much for them kids, or T, no, they need to this, and that. I think I just got so caught up in providing for my kids and being supportive and being loving and being understanding, all the things that I wanted my mom to be with me. I tried to do that with my kids, and I succeeded in doing that, but almost to a detriment, because it still means I over-sacrifice. I did too much, and that has been a theme in my life, a thread in my life since forever. Doing the most for people when it has not been established that they deserve the most, and that has been with my mom. Your mother, you'd be like, my mom deserves everything, but you get what I'm saying. It's like doing too much to try and get some type of not accolades, but to be seen, to be respected, to be loved. It's like pouring into everybody else, but you're so busy pouring into everybody else, there's none left for yourself. And I've said a million times when my mom transitioned, it was like I realized I need to start taking all that energy and pouring it into me and doing me and loving me and building me and all the good things. And no, it's just, I love my kids, but I'm tired of my kids. And I wouldn't be tired of my kids if I felt that they were more independent and they were less selfish and self-centered. And me and Lily is supposed to be going to the rodeo, and she paid for her ticket, right? And then I had wanted to take swim lesson classes. This is the thing, because I'm single. My kids have been privy to things that they probably, certain extensions or kindness and things I wouldn't have done probably if I was partnered up and with somebody, because that person requires a certain amount of my time and my love and my attention and priority. And being that I have been a single mom for so long, all my energy went into my kids. Not to say I just totally neglected myself. Hell no. I always made sure, I dressed as nice as I could and looked as nice as I could. But I really wasn't, I don't think, up until now in life, really loving on myself the way I deserve to be loved on. And nobody's going to love you more than yourself. Nobody knows you better than yourself. And I have learned the hard way that people will treat you how you allow them, and that's not just for friends or strangers, that's for your family too. That's for your mom, your aunts, uncles, cousins, your siblings, your kids, your adult kids. And if you don't have boundaries or things that people know for a fact they can't cross this, or they're not gonna get by with doing certain things with you, they'll stop doing it. They won't do it. If the kids know, hey, Mom is not trying to get any quick food. I'm not trying to do anything to make your life easier anymore because you are able-bodied, you are grown. And at this point, if you're at home living with your mom at 19 and 23, you should be at least part-time. At the very least, you should have some type of income or employment, stream of income, and you should be contributing to the household and definitely carrying your own weight. What I'm getting at is where they're at now in life. I have poured into you and I've gotten you to adulthood. We should be helping each other. If you're home because obviously you cannot exist independently. You can't pay all your bills and pay rent and pay, expenses, living expenses by yourself. So you are still home with your mom because it's easier, it's convenient, and that's why you're there. And if you are there and you are able-bodied and you can make yourself of help, you want to be a helpmate to your mom, not a burden, because she has raised you already. And that's what I'm getting at. At Lily's age, man, I was such a big help to my mom, all my teen years. Till I left home, like for real, which was about 18, no, but Lily's 19. When I was 17, I was driving, working, helping my mom, cooking, cleaning, all the things. Now, it's true, my daughter is not me. She's her own individual. But I made life better for my kids, and they have no idea. They have no idea. Generation X, we know, but I get frustrated. I find myself each day, when I get up and I'm around the house doing whatever, and it'll dawn on me, even like now, Boopy took the trash out. Before I came to the park, I had to drag the trash can, on the porch. It seems simple, and you would think I wouldn't be annoyed, but I'm annoyed because you don't work a job. If you take out the trash for Tuesday, the least you can do is, I put it out. You've been taking the trash out I don't know how long. You should know. Trash comes around this time. Let me check to see so I can bring the trash can back in. This is some fucking 16, 17-year-old, duties, chores around the house that you should be on it. Not going on 24 and your mom got to drag the fucking trash can back to the porch, Or I got to tear you away from your gaming session to come and, put some mulch down for me, or, or remind you, Boopy, that grass getting kind of, and then he was supposed to clear out the yard. Boopy worked hard one good day and then, took his butt in the house and was like, I feel like my personality has never been very demanding, very loud, very bold, very aggressive. I have always been one to talk too much, to overthink things, to try and see things from a different perspective, a different viewpoint, and to be understanding, hell, overstanding. But that way of being is often not appreciated. People they see it as a weak trait. Let's be honest. And there's nothing weak about using your brain more than your muscles or your emotions and, just to really think things through. But I noticed there is a certain level, like Rachel, on the other hand, my sister, she will snap, she will pop off, she'll bark, she'll yell, she'll do all the things. Her kids know that there are certain lines, not to cross with their mom, or certain things they just would not try because it's like, that's not flying with mom. I have always been the one to talk to them. Let's talk it out. What's going on up here? Let's get this off your chest. Let's find a resolution. I've always been that type of parenting, or extremely fair about things. Like, there's a way that we can come to some type of resolution that is beneficial for everybody. Peacemaker, mediator. That's what I have been in my life with every relationship I've ever had. And people be like, how's that working out for you? How's that worked out for you? Exactly. I'm tired of being nice. I like being nice. I just think when I look over my life, it has not benefited me to the extent that possibly being aggressive and assertive and not as smiley, and happy, I think being more bold and aggressive would have served me better in life. Borderline mean. Like I said, people look at that as a weak trait, but nobody wants to cross a bitch. They don't want them problems. They don't want that smoke. They don't have the time and energy to deal with that. They will bow out. They will concede. They will not cross that line. They will fall in line, and they will respect the bitch. So, I'm living and learning. And what I have learned too is, I can't be something I'm not. I've learned different ways to handle things. Just like, it's just time. I think with my kids, it's time. When you have kids, you never foresee the ups and downs that come with parenting and instilling love and value and support into another human being year after year after year after year after year after year. And people are like, oh, having kids is this, if I could just poll, 1,000 women, black women, honestly, and even more so single black moms, and ask them, your child, your one child, your 2 kids, your 3, 4, 5, however many kids you had, has it been rewarding for you as a mom? Like, seriously, has it been, oh, I'm so glad I had kids. There's so much, the joys and the things they done and the love they gave me, and I felt so alive and just full of purpose, and they did so many things in life that just make me smile and make me happy and make me glad that I chose motherhood. How many women would say that? Or how many women would be like, I just never knew? And if they had a do-over, probably when they had kids. For the longest, I didn't want kids. And I think how we're raised, people think you're just some type of not monster, but some oddity if you, as a woman with a uterus and ovaries, decide that you don't want to bring life into the world. It's like, how dare you have a uterus and don't use it? But man, if you really could think about just, man, I think we get caught up in women, we romanticize having kids and just, oh, and give life, and and they're cute and hold your hand and all. That's the thing, though. I can't imagine life without my kids because they're here. I can't imagine, their personalities and how they are uniquely different. It has been interesting watching them grow from kids to adulthood. Um, but I can't say I've had all these rewarding times as a mother. I can't say, and then my kids did that. I remember the time they, cooked me breakfast and, I just, or lots of proud moments, or maybe I just wasn't cut out to be a mom. And I'm not gonna go down that road and have a pity party. It's just, I think I got caught up in the, you find somebody, you get married, then you have kids. We just think that's just the norm to do, and you really don't think about carrying them for damn near a year in your body, and your body changing, and boobies drooping, and stretch marks, and stomach that never looks the way it used to, and raising them and feeding them day after day after day, week after week, year after year, clothing, school, shoes, peer pressure, teen issues, hygiene, mental health, pep talks, getting them where they're independent and self-sufficient, and teaching them how to be a good person with good morals and kind-hearted and, loving, but yet no doormat. You just want them to be a good person and have a good life and have good times in life. But for many of us, we haven't experienced that ourselves. We haven't experienced all these joys in life, and then we bring other people here and think that we are capable of showing them how to navigate life and find happiness and, be an asset to, the world and good people. And we haven't figured that shit out for ourselves. I think that's what makes it hard, and that's what makes it draining, is we don't know how to do it our damn self. We're still figuring it out. And then you bring life, and how many lives you bring here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now you're responsible for these individuals for 18 years. But it's never 18 years. It's a lifetime. It's until you die. Unless you figure out ways to detach and put yourself back as a priority after you have raised your kids. And I think that's just where I'm at now. I've done everything I could possibly to be the best parent for my kids. And I'm tired of doing the mom thing now. I need them to be independent, and yeah. So what I've been doing, I just come and go as I please. I try and get out the house and be away from the energy that is my kids, because my kids right now don't necessarily make me happier. I'm content, and I'm at a good place in life mentally, for myself, like mood-wise, vibe-wise, all that. But sometimes being in the household with my kids, I feel a little drained, or I find myself being annoyed or, upset. And I don't want to be that way. So I either get out the house and yeah. I think I'm done talking about it. I need to go and get my walk in. I don't know if The guy who's working on my porch is supposed to be coming to finish up, and I owe him some money. That's the thing. Things, money, 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 money. And my money is slowly, and summer hasn't even started. Trying to go. I was thinking this is supposed to make me feel better and get it off my chest. I don't feel better. I don't feel better. Let me get this walk in. I've sat in this car and talked for almost an hour. Good things are happening to me right now.